The mission of Talking Memphis Wrestling is to pay tribute to the legacy of Memphis wrestling, pro wrestling's greatest territory. Tonight, we look at Memphis wrestling's most dangerous match, created with Memphis wrestling, debuting in Louisville, Kentucky in 1971, the Scaffold match, via video, pictures, and discussions. Now it's time for this week's edition of Talking Memphis Wrestling.
Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hales is now streaming live on Fun Media at fun927.com and is always on Facebook, YouTube, X, Twitch, and at tv5wrestling.com.
Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hales and special guests.
Fasten your seatbelts. We are ready to rock and roll. Talking Memphis Wrestling, April the 7th. Hope everybody had an absolute. I'm so excited. I'm doing this coughing spell here. Man, we're ready to go with Talking Memphis Wrestling. Hey to Greg, my buddy, my brother from another mother. Randy West is here for this loaded show. Calvin Lindsay Jr. Also, my buddy, usually on Twitch, but he tells me, even though it says up there, we're broadcasting from Twitch, Richard Hood says we have not been the last several weeks. Hey, Richard, what's going on? My buddy Al Tuttle, hello to you. Hope everybody out there in TV land had a great Easter. I spent mine 100 miles away from Jonesboro at my niece Cindy's in Cabot, Arkansas. It was fantastic. Big day today. Starting at 3:30 in the morning, I went to the Memphis airport. Then at 3:30 in the afternoon, after I had returned to Jonesboro, I had to go back to the Memphis airport. Busy day. Man, we're ready for first take time because this is a loaded show. And coming in to join us live, the original, my tag team partner from the start of this show. He is from Birmingham, Alabama. He's the one that advises me about life, advises me about finances, advises me about this show. He is my good, close, personal friend. His hero in life was Jerry Jarrett. And want to bring into this show the person we couldn't do this show without, my buddy Pat Trello. Here we go for steak time and your hellos.
Well, that's quite an introduction. Thank you. Hello to everybody. Hello, Ahmad and Randy and Al and Richard and James and everybody. Good to see you all. Glad to be here. I'm getting old, Randy. I can't take my glasses off and see it anymore. I need new glasses or maybe permanent glasses. But anyway, my first take tonight is something I saw on social media that I'm pretty excited about, and I'll explain it just here in a minute. Our friend Tony Richards is going to do an interview with Briscoe and Bradshaw with George Goulas, and I think I'm very excited about that because I think George has gotten a lot of heat over the years unfairly, but I don't think there is anybody who probably has better insight into the Goulas Welch territory in Nashville and Birmingham and to some extent in Memphis. And I hope he will. I hope people will give him the respect he deserves with this, and I'm looking forward to hearing what he's got to say. I wish Michael was on here now because I know Michael is friends with George and they talk from time to time, and I hope to meet him someday. But I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to allow about his dad and those years growing up. And ultimately that's the genesis of Memphis wrestling. Now there were long roads to get there, but I'm really excited about it. So
Pat, tell our friends how your Easter was and what you guys at the Trammell household did for this great weekend.
well, our Easter was fine. It's a work day for the missus in the house, and she had a full house at church, and it was really I went to two different churches for Easter. I went with the kids to our church, and then I went to Ascension Episcopal for the later service, which I enjoy. And then Christmas evening, my cousin Don, who is the oldest cousin in our family, and I'm the youngest. His wife passed away about a year ago, and he came and had dinner with us. And he's very, very. His mother was probably, other than my parents, the most important person in my life. And the quick story is, she lost a son 6 weeks before I was born at 18 years old, and and 6 weeks before I was born, she came to my mother and she said, and my mother worked, and she said, I know you're going to need help with the baby, and I think that would help me to take care of him. And she was my favorite person for the rest of my life and her life, and Meg was named for her. So Don and I have, been very close over the years. So excited to have him with us, and we had a good time. So it was a really good family Easter. No fights, no nothing, which is unusual in the Trammell house. So
That is fantastic. We'll catch up on the comments. Thomas Lemon is in the house. He always tells me to fire up. So he says fire up. And he also says yellow RH and everybody else. Dave is saying good evening. Hello, Dave. What's going on? Pat, our buddy Frank Seaton from Jonesboro, Arkansas, now lives on the other side of Arkansas. He says hi to me and you both. Michael Butler at Humboldt, Tennessee, big fan of TV5, is in the house. PJ, the first lady of certainly the first lady of professional wrestling, talking Memphis wrestling. I love PJ. She is in the house, as well as so many people on this show that shows up to you guys 2 days after Easter, and we had the preview of the show. I'm excited about it. Loaded, scaffold match, WrestleMania preview, Hall of Fame preview, great pictures of the week. I'm telling you, this show is flat out loaded. I have executive decision to make because I'm aware that Michael St. John will not be here. Adam John next week, he is in the backstage area right now, but Michael not here next week. Adam Dunn, our producer, will be traveling for work and might have a iffy connection, and Pat may have some kind of meeting. So I'll make an announcement on social media what kind of show, if we do have a show next week. Did I shout out to Randy West, who is watching this show today on the 7th day of April? Hey, it's time to leave Jonesboro. It is time to leave Birmingham. It is time to leave the Rome, Georgia area where Adam Dunn is. And we'll go down the highway, the byway of this land. He is a Hall of Famer in broadcasting. He is a Hall of Famer in the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame. He's Adam's friend. He's Michael's friend. He's RH's friend. He adds professional ability of broadcasting to this show. He is your friend. He is my friend. And let's not wait any longer. At 9 minutes after 7 Central Standard Time on the 7th day of this month, we want to bring in and welcome, say our hellos to the great Michael freaking Sant freaking John.
I had to look over my shoulder to see who you were introducing there for a minute. You threw me.
You play that bit about every 3 weeks, something like that.
Thank
if
you,
you need
Randy.
a creative ideas, I'm
everybody.
pretty good at creative. And now, Michael St. John, it looks like he's frozen up. Michael, you're frozen up right now.
Am I here?
You are now, but you freeze up about every 30 seconds. Let's try it again.
Okay, how's this? Nope, it froze again.
Okay, so far.
Do I need to reconnect?
Good.
I can reconnect.
Why don't we do that? Just make sure you have a greatest thing, and we'll bring Pat Trammell back in to the loop on Talking Memphis Wrestling right now as Pat comes in, as long as we hadn't lost Pat. Pat, help me stretch as we say hello to James Davis.
Get a headlock and drag you around the ring for a while, right?
Grab a hold.
Grab a hold. Grab a hold. Well, good to see everybody. I hope Michael will be back on in just a minute. The gang's almost all here. I got a text from Chris, and hope he's doing well, and hope he's back with us soon. Interesting and exciting show tonight. Once again, an example of how Memphis wrestling was a trendsetter for what we see today. And I'm excited to talk about it, particularly the first time. And I wonder who came up. Bo, good to see you. See you just popped right in. So look forward to getting Michael back on, and let's get him with it.
That'll be great, as well as that scaffold match. We'll go with more detailed information as this show goes on, Pat, and we will talk about the fact that the very first scaffold match was in Louisville, Kentucky in 1971. It is Jerry Jarrett against Don Green, and that was just trying to figure it out. The scaffold wasn't up as high as they would end up. It wasn't as good a matches as it would come up. This is trying something for the first time, and we will go to Jim Cornette's book that, Pat, I think you ordered, and I've read this book so many times, it's all messed up. Jim Cornette wrote this book, Tuesday Night at the Gardens, and we will be reading from that book today.
I can make a recommendation. If you're interested in old school wrestling, Memphis particularly, but anywhere else, I would recommend you get a hold of any book, and Mark James was the co-author of that book with Cornette. You know, anything Mark James writes is good, factual, and accurate as a history. He's a great friend of the show. He was at the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame. Great guy, great artifact collection. I highly recommend anything Mark writes. Would you second that, Randy?
No, I'll third and fourth and fifth and sixth and seventh and eighth and 9 times for sure.
Absolutely. And I hope when I am either lowered into the ground or put into the oven or whatever they do to me, I won't care. I hope I would have contributed 1/1000th of to the history of wrestling that Mark James has.
The
I'll tell you,
really show today, we'll talk Andre the Giant and Jerry the King Lawler in Louisville, Kentucky. And certainly we will talk and watch 3 scaffold matches. The 71 match with Don Green and Jerry Jarrett. The 1982 Sweet Brown Sugar Cocoa Ware against Bill Dundee. And the 1987 Dundee and Lawler against Rich and Austin Idol, and I'll tell the story how I talked those guys into doing that match. As we're going to head back to Alabama. We are going to go to Arab, Alabama, and we're going to see what kind of signal we have as we're trying like hell to get the first take in from Michael St. John.
And thank you. My bad hair day, I had to just let it go today. It's just one of those
Oh,
things.
come on.
Hey, Pat. How are you, man? Good seeing you. Oh, my goodness. We got a lot of folks here. Thank you, Randy. Appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity to do it. I'm going to throw my first take in the direction of Pat because he sent a thing on Twitter, which was a video that was very, very well done. It's almost from a historical perspective on the Mid-South Coliseum. I don't know how long it's been around, but I reposted it. And there's so many, when you think about Memphis wrestling, and I've had a lot of commentary with folks ever since the passing of Dennis Condrey, and you think about Memphis wrestling, sometimes it's hard to realize how much of wrestling actually was invented or done for the first time in the Memphis territory or in the Mid-South territory, the Nashville-Memphis territories, all the way back into the 50s. And I think when you look at a historical perspective, there are so many firsts, if you would. And this scaffold match thing that you guys have come up with for this show, I think is an indicator of another first where it happened here first. And so when you think about it, we're blessed. I'm just happy, not only with this show, but other people that have now begun to see and realize how the Memphis territory really affected and effected wrestling throughout the world, really, and certainly throughout the country over the past 50 years, 60 years. And I think the opportunity to have a show like this every week it's not only a salute to Memphis wrestling, but I think it keeps Memphis wrestling alive, which I think is good for the entire, not only wrestling community, but entire folks that are now just getting involved in wrestling and watching wrestling and understanding wrestling. You got to have a history to know what you're watching, to know what you're talking about. So hopefully this show will provide that. So that's my first take. But Pat, that was a fantastic video. Was that an educational television series thing?
You know, Michael, I don't know. It just popped up and I looked at it and I just thought, man, this is really great. But it was done like it was it was done as a serious news piece, and not that it shouldn't be, but it was professionally done, and I really thought it was worth sharing. And it gave a lot of back history of the Coliseum I didn't know.
And to follow up on that, if you haven't seen it, folks, it's a little historical perspective and talks about how the Mid-South Coliseum was the first arena in the South not to be segregated. It was built as a non-segregated arena during the time of integration in the 60s. And when you think about it, and I'm glad to see it now, but I wish it would have happened 15 years ago. I would have loved to had Sputnik Monroe gotten his flowers and gotten his compliments and gotten his historical significance exposed to the rest of the world long before he died. I wish he would have lived to have seen now what people think of who he was and what he did, not only as a wrestler, but as somebody that affected the human culture.
March the 7th, 1994, at the very first Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame ceremony. The main event act was a co-main event. It was Lance Russell and the Diamond Ring Cadillac Man, Sputnik Monroe. There's also, while he was still alive, he was honored in Memphis, and certainly a lot of credit with Sputnik Monroe and race relations in Memphis and that sort of thing. There is a Sputnik Monroe Day, his birthday, that they celebrate throughout the city every year. It's just very important, and I'm glad you brought that up, Michael. It's a very good thing to bring up. Now, Adam, I'm requesting something graphic-wise because I'm going to do some reading, put my readers on, and certainly do some reading. Adam, if you could scroll down toward the end of the graphic section and find the book that I showed the book, the Tuesday night at the Gardens, and I thought this would be a easy way to explain this. It was a card Sunday, August the 15th at the Louisville Convention Center that ended up being renamed the Louisville Gardens. Again, this is Tuesday night at the Gardens in Louisville by Jim Cornette, and I'm just going to read some of the stuff and take time to do this. Usually I don't read something this lengthy, but this show, the main number one thing I try to do, and we try to do, Adam, Pat, and Michael, to educate everybody and keep up the legacy of Memphis wrestling and the history of Memphis wrestling. I read now from Jim Cornette. Flashback, the Scaffold match. This is the most famous pro wrestling match in Louisville history. There have been WWF, WWE events on pay-per-view and cable from Louisville that has been seen by many more. But if you count the folks that were there, the folks that heard about it on TV at the time, and the folks who claim they were there whenever anybody talked about it at the weekly matches, which was weekly for the next 20 years or more, this one wins. Jarrett got the ultimate match to eliminate outside interference. In examining the film, the match was long on drama and heat and short on action, like most scaffolds to come. But the heat from the crowd at the most hints of danger was remarkable, and the biggest thing that hampered this match was the decision not to keep the house lights on when filming it, because the scaffold blocked a lot of the ring lights. The original stipulation for getting over time was that a man had to be knocked off twice in a row, a hedge against the entirely possible accidental slip and fall screwing up the finish. But after this one, it was forevermore changed to knocking the opponent off once, and the heights were raised considerably. Jarrett put on an amazing performance where you consider how much time he actually spends hanging upside down. And Don Green is game for everything. Referee Bobby Thomas, later to be revealed as Thomas Marlin, Eddie Marlin's brother, is the ultimate glory hound babyface referee, climbing the scaffold to raise Jarrett's hand, but that was his gimmick. The ring announcer, a local radio DJ, doubles as the film's play-by-play man, and obviously had to be prodded to announce Green's broken wrist from the final drop, since in those days the ring announcer was not smartened up. As far as attendance, the house lights come on for a while after the final bell, and you can still see very, very few empty seats, and only in areas that usually empties first. So every indication is, if it wasn't a sellout, it was near capacity. Ticket prices had been considerably raised for the first three rows. Remember, 1971, a whopping $10, using the Golden Circle gimmick that Cornette used for Smoky Mountain Wrestling 20 years later. This would have to have been the biggest gate in Louisville wrestling until the board price increases in the 80s. Business was strong all over the territory. By the way, although technically this was the first ever scaffold match, Jarrett actually experimented with the idea in Memphis on May 26, 1969, in what was called a gladiator pit match, where the wrestlers would wrestle on an 18-inch wide plank 8 feet above the rings. Johnny Walker beat Johnny Long, and the idea was shelved until everything was made bigger and more dangerous 2 years later when they did it in Louisville for this card. We'll start with his feedback on these very just greatly fantastic written words from the great Jim Cornette. Your thoughts on Jimmy's words, Michael?
Well, Jimmy's a good writer. I mean, we know that. Jimmy is a historian. We know that. And I think he lined it up pretty much. And that's pretty much true to form as to everything I've heard about the first scaffold match and what happened in Louisville. Of course, I knew Johnny Randolph, who was the announcer he was talking about. And it was one of those matches that I think a lot of people came to see not knowing what to expect. But at the same time, there was a curiosity factor of who's going to fall off the scaffold and get killed. You know, it's the same reason people go to race car match or stock car racing or race car or racing in general. They're not there to see the winner. They're there to see the wrecks. And so I think a lot of people were anticipating that something disastrously was going to happen. And you got to think about Al Green's a big guy. Or I'm sorry, Don Green. Don Green is a lot bigger than Jeff Jarrett. But anyway, I'm sorry, I've got them mixed up. Jerry Jarrett.
Did you get it right?
I'll get it right. My brain has been scrambling. Folks, I got to shoot on this. For the past 2 weeks, every day of the week, there has been a brush fire that I've had to put out. And most of it regards technical equipment, which I am about as good of a bull in a china shop when it comes to looking into technical things, to the point where I had to pay a guy out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee to come down as a consulting engineer and fix something, which we normally don't get to do. But anyway, so I'm a little razzled right now, but it's okay. I'm good.
Hey, Pat, your thoughts on the Cornette writing?
Well, first thing I want to answer a question for Calvin. Calvin, probably my favorite wrestler in Memphis overall of all time is Tojo, because he was in Birmingham, and I just thought he was something special from the day I met him. I also liked Austin Idol, and I liked Buddy Landell. I like the heels. But, you know, to answer your question, Randy, I mean, what would wrestling be? And I don't mean this sarcastically. And I particularly mean from a historical standpoint. What would territory wrestling be, particularly Louisville and Memphis, without the words and writing and research and all that of Jim Cornette? And, you know, Jim is his own deal. He's an acquired taste in a lot of ways. A lot of times I shut him off in the middle of something. There are things that he just gets out of hand about that I don't necessarily agree with, but he is the work that he has done. And, you know, guys, I think everybody knows by this time that I'm a historian at heart. The work that he's done to preserve and explain in the right way, down the middle of the history of Louisville and Memphis, and you know, the entire territory is something that is priceless and will endure forever.
Adam, now if you go up to the top of the graphic page, and there's 4 or 5 pictures of the scaffold matches, and as I am talking, and take your time on changing pictures, there is, as we will show, the several pictures of the Don Green, Jerry Jarrett scaffold, the Dundee Cocoa Ware scaffold in 1982, and the 87 Lawler and Dundee and Idol and Rich scaffold match. But I wanted to give you the card, and as we continue through the pictures, and we can also resort back to the Louisville Tuesday night at the Gardens if we need to. If you run out of pictures before I run out of stuff to read, I wanted to read you guys, and everybody pay attention to this card. On August the 15th, 1971, wrestling started in Louisville in 1970. In 1971, on this Sunday card, the opening match was Sherry Lee and Sarah Lee. And I'm not familiar with Sherry Lee. Sarah Lee, of course, Corsica Joe's wife. They were wrestling Cora Combs and Barbara Galinto in the opening match. And then the Alaskans against Dennis Hall and Oni Wiki Wiki. The interns, the Dr. Ken Ramey against Bearcat Brown and my guy that got me in the wrestling business, Eddie Marlin. Marlin and Bearcat against the interns. Then came Al Green and Sir Steve Clemens against the fabulous Jackie Fargo and Tojo Yamamoto. The next match, Carl and Kurt Von Bronner with Jim and Saul Weingroff against Indianapolis and legend Wilbur Snyder teaming with young Rob Fuller. Absolutely tremendous match. And certainly the semifinal match was Lynn Rossi and Bear. I'm sorry. The first Jarrett card was July the 7th, 1970. July 7th, 1970. This card, the first Scaffold match, August the 15th, 1971. And the main event was Jerry Jarrett against Don Green. And interesting to see that Al Green and Steve Clements, who was barred from ringside on the Scaffold match against Jackie Fargo and Tojo Yamamoto in that match. Just real quick thoughts, Pat, on that loaded card. Remember, this was 1971.
You know, they brought everybody to the house on that one, for sure. And I don't, I was a question I had earlier is when did they reopen Louisville? And you said 1970, and that of course was 7 years before the split. But I recall, and I don't know enough to get into it, that Louisville was one of those towns for a lot of years that was kind of in no man's land. I think it was run out of Indianapolis some, and it was run out of Nashville some, and it just never got the push that would make it a weekly town. But certainly Jerry and the Memphis team got it to that for sure.
Michael, that card.
Stacked card. No doubt about it. Loaded card. Question. What led to Jarrett versus Don Green? I don't know the circumstance that led to this Scaffold match.
I can answer that.
Okay.
Jerry Jarrett was the biggest babyface in the history of Louisville, and Don Green was one of the nastiest heels. Am I right, Randy?
Well, absolutely. Jarrett, big baby face. Now, the program going on was Don Green, Al Green, and Sir Steve Clements against Fargo, Tojo, and Jarrett. Nothing conclusive. And they kind of spotlighted Don Green and Jerry Jarrett. So they needed a match with no interference at all, one-on-one. They did a specific angle with Jarrett and Don Green, and Jarrett challenged him in a match. There wouldn't be no deal, and they sold it to the fact somebody, without probably saying it directly, but people in their mind would think if they fall off that ladder, somebody would die. I think that's the reason the near capacity crowd. And Michael, you were talking about race car driving. Same thing. They go to race cars for the wrecks, like you just said so right on point there. Same thing with this type of match, and so it evolved to that, and another way they were banned from ringside, and at the same time they put on a scaffold to keep out interference. The only way a scaredy cat heel would climb a ladder if he was forced to sign a contract to be on one. It was just a fantastic deal and so smart. I will say this before we go to this video. As we go along, we see them do more things. This, just for the spectacle of it, is great to see. And as Cornette said in that thing, said light on action, high on drama, and it is just so true with that. We normally don't show videos this long, but this is the beginning of scaffold matches in professional wrestling. And we are going to spend probably 50 minutes watching the 3 scaffold matches today, which we normally don't do. But we think it's, as our mission is to keep up with and teach the history of Memphis wrestling, this is so important. 24-minute, 12-second video going back to August the 15th of 1971 at the convention center that would later be turned into the Louisville Gardens, 24/12 on Talking Memphis Wrestling, Wrestling First Scaffold.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our main event of the evening. This is a first time ever. A scaffold match.
I think that's Johnny
wrestling
Randolph.
on a 2-foot plank.
Is it?
12 feet in the air.
No, it's not.
To win the match, one man must knock his opponent from the plank.
I have no idea who that is, unless it's Sir Clemens.
Sounds English.
Now, introducing the wrestlers. First on this side of me, wearing the black trunks, from Music City, USA, weighing 241 pounds, Don Green. And the challenge from his opponent,
Jimmy Cornette was right. The lighting on this is horrible.
Would you welcome Jerry Jarrett? The referee is Bobby Thomas.
I didn't know that I read the Cornette thing. Bobby Thomas was Thomas Marlin.
Always liked the presentation too of a ring announcer when he did it the boxing style, which I like to call it, in that the 2 wrestlers are there and they're showcased rather than just throwing them in the ring and letting them go.
Yes, I love that too.
Gentlemen, you saw the introduction. My name is Bob Seymour, your ring announcer and your commentator.
That is not Johnny Randolph.
As I said before,
We've showed stuff with doing Johnny Randolph doing the audio before, but this was not that. I would have loved to hear Johnny Randolph call the scaffold match.
It's a fearing thing.
Now this scaffold was not as wide as
Say that again.
This scaffold was not as wide as some of the scaffold matches we see lately.
No, it got bigger and better and everything as it went along. I mean, visual-wise, as you watch the next 2 videos I'll bring you later in the show, it's not that impressive, but I'd hate to fall from that height, wouldn't you, Pat?
Absolutely.
This both of these men are only just 2 feet apart. A very, very dangerous match. Jerry Jarrett sitting astride. He's sitting astride the board. His legs apart. He's got Don Green in the headlock. He's trying to get him off.
Hey, what? That crowd is going for it, aren't they?
Trying to get excited.
Absolutely.
Off the ring, off the plank, I should say, this board.
Can you guys imagine Al Green up on that scaffold?
The man's half off, but he's holding on.
I can't can't see how the scaffold will hold up.
Wide plank. And that's not a lot of room for two men to be up there.
Richard Hood asking you, Pat, if you remember Larry Hamilton wrestling in Montgomery.
I do remember Larry.
Oh, Jerry had a headlock with Dungy.
Not a lot, but I do remember it.
Getting the head using the fist and pulling his hair.
You know, Montgomery was an in-between town, too.
And nobody ever ran Tuscaloosa on a continuous level either.
I never remember wrestling in Tuscaloosa.
Adam sent me a little paragraph from an article he found that is incorrect. He says, this article says the first scaffold match was held in Memphis, Tennessee in 1971 between Jerry Jarrett and Don Green. The match type remained exclusive to Memphis until 1984 when Mid-South Wrestling adopted it. Now, the first scaffold match came from the Memphis territory in 1971, but it happened in Louisville, and Adam had found this from WWE.com, and WWE.com was not right saying that it was in Memphis unless they meant the Memphis territory.
Don Green put his foot into Jerry Jarrett's face, and Jerry Jarrett is making a comeback to get back on the board.
Look how hard would that be, Pat, hanging upside down with somebody beating on you and not fall?
I'll tell you, Jerry was athletic, I guess, and it helps being 174 pounds at the time. I tell you though, you know, I mean, this is brand new to them too, and I have to believe they worked on it. But I mean, it's good working.
I'm sure they talked it out. I guarantee you, neither one of them will climb that scaffold, because I would have ended up smarting somebody else up in the building, and that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
They did not practice the match. I can bet my life on it. Spotlighting scaffold matches, 2 more to go. Again, this is over 20-minute video with 18 to go. But I think it's important to see Memphis Territory Wrestling in 1971 from Louisville. I give the camera work or the production, I give it a D-, Michael.
Yeah, it's a fixed camera. The thing I was about to say, you talk about a ground game. You know, you see all this high-flying stuff these days. Listen to this crowd and listen to the intensity of this crowd. And neither of these guys are on their feet, much less in the air.
And once again, Don Green hissing. Jerry Jarrett is sitting upright. He's sitting upright. He kicked him. Jerry Jarrett gave a double kick and knocked him flat on his back. The crowd are going wild. Jerry Jarrett's taking the upper hand here. Jerry Jarrett throws a punch to Don Green this time.
I think Jerry is more comfortable up there than Don Green is.
This reminds me of a painter's scaffold versus a scaffold that you see today.
Yeah. It'll be amazing when we get to the other scaffold. Look at those people go banana. Look.
And the baby's going in.
Remember, have to knock them off twice. Hello, Mike. What is going on?
Raises Jerry Jarrett's hand. It took just 7 minutes. 7 minutes for Jerry Jarrett to get Don Green on for the first time.
All right, that was the first fall as we continue now, and I don't know. You have to knock the guy off 2 times, and I don't know. I haven't watched this entire match in a long time, so I don't know if Jerry wins 2 in a row or if he drops the fall here. We certainly will find out.
You know, it's interesting. In that day, and I don't know if they did it in Memphis, but they sure did it in Birmingham. A 2 out of 3 fall match, the wrestlers would go back in the dressing room between falls.
They did it in Jonesboro that way too, and in Memphis.
In fact, in 2 out of 3 fall matches when the wrestlers didn't go back, the first time I ever saw it was in the WWF in New England. And they would just put the wrestlers to the corner for a 2-minute or 3-minute rest and then bring them back from the corner. But every time they would go back to the locker room and then come back out. And the reason for doing that, besides giving the wrestlers a rest, was it gave people an opportunity to buy more concessions and go to the bathroom.
Absolutely right.
I got a gripe right now, guys, because thinking about the Wrestling Observer and Dave Meltzer and wrestling community in the internet, I guarantee you Dave Meltzer would have rated this, no rating, would have rated this a dud of a match. There's 7,000 people in this building, Pat and Michael. They are freaking on their feet. They're yelling, screaming, probably some of them scared to death, some of them crying. How can anybody in their right mind say this is a dud?
It's just the new world order of what, excuse me, fun, but it is as to where wrestling has come. Started in the circus with the trapeze acts under the big top as a sideshow, went to what wrestling really was and meant to be, and now it's back to the trapeze acts. Only thing is they're under the big top now and not as a sideshow.
He's got a chain, I do believe. I believe he's got a chain around his neck. And the referee is almost helpless down on the ground there. I believe the referee's got to go.
I'm going to have to find out who this English guy is. I recall, I believe, at one point, Nick had a guy that had an English accent doing some TV work for him. And it wasn't Sir Clement, and it wasn't Don Kent, but it was somebody, and I can't remember the guy's name for the life of me. I'm going to have to find out. And this is bugging me.
And now it's been reversed, Jerry.
It was so over.
That's a different story. Don Green doesn't like that. He's punched him in the head. Punched Jerry Jarrett in the head and knocked him.
The other baby faces were like Kojo,
There goes the referee.
Fat and Dumpy, Jackie Fargo, older, Jerry Jarrett always looked younger than his real age was, and with those girls, they loved him, and it was just fantastic stuff.
They got rid of the chain. Now maybe we can get a fair match out of this.
Did Jerry get juice in this match?
Looks like it.
Read Adam's comment, Michael, and read it. His private comment. It answers your question.
Boy, Jerry's face is grimacing. He must be hurting that neck. He has a chokehold.
Can you see it, Michael?
Yeah, and that name sounds familiar, so I think it's right. I think it is Bob Seymour, but he didn't last with Nick for very long. I know that, and I believe he came right after Jack Green, after Jack Simpson retired or got sick, and then of course after Bill Green committed suicide. So that was in that period of time where they were going through announcers. I know they had Don Green was an announcer, then Rossi. I mean, they were going through announcers left and right. I'm sure George could give a more categorical perspective, timeline perspective on that.
Richard asked me if I can kind of Rich pattern the style after Jerry Jarrett, and Jerry Jarrett was one of the ones that trained him. So just was natural that he would that way. And somebody 71 says, hello Randy, we want you to have you back on our podcast show. Give me a email at randybittenhells@gmail.com, and remind me what this podcast is. I've done so many over the years. Just email me at the address that's on the screen right now. Bo says, is the announcer Roy Layton. He did Bruises and Cheeks TV at times, and also worked for Barnett too. Again, what Adam posted of what the guy's name was, but Michael, do you think it's the possibility it would be who?
I don't think it was Lloyd Layton or Lord Layton. I remember Lord Layton. He did some work for the Sheik also in Detroit, and he was a British man, but he had a different sound to him, if you would. Again, this doesn't sound like Layton. I know pretty much what Layton sounded like.
Into the second fall, with roughly 10 minutes left into this match. We will continue with two other Scaffold matches. The segment that we will do next, we will talk a little WrestleMania. We'll spend about 5 or 6 minutes talking Hall of Fame and talking about WrestleMania and a list of matches for both nights. Night 1, night 2 was listed, and the 18th and 19th after both nights WrestleMania go off the air. Hopefully, with as many of you guys join me as possible, we will review WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2 coming up the 18th and 19th.
Don Green stomping on Jerry's hands. He's falling down, and Jerry went to the floor.
Jerry fell, Pat.
This makes the
down goes Jarrett. Down goes Jarrett.
Makes one apiece.
Good job.
Referee raised Don Green's hand, and you probably heard the
Fans are still into this.
Oh, absolutely. Both win. Lost ball. Whoever knocks the other off, and now that's cheating. That's cheating.
He jumped off the scaffold and threw the man's head into the scaffold.
That's not right, Michael.
Now he's picked up a chain. The referee's trying to get him back.
Yeah.
This is not the match it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be up on the scaffold.
Tell Mike 4310, have you ever thought about doing a show about the various managers that came through Memphis? I don't know if we've done a specific show about managers, but certainly from Cornette to Jimmy Hart to Gentleman Saw to Sam Bass, we've done a lot of talk on Memphis wrestling through the years.
We did a thing, Randy, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, where we picked out our three favorite managers, and we all had it. And we did a show about that, so it didn't encompass all the managers in Memphis, but we talked about a lot of them that night.
Contracted to be, and this is where it should continue.
What's amazing to me, paying attention and watching the whole thing through, first of all, it's distracting with the video. Very distracting with the video. However, the fact that the people are with the sucker like the life depended on it.
You know, and they really are. There's no break. Nobody's going back to the dressing room, and they are hanging in there.
Okay, David, I'll check with that, try to get back with you tomorrow. Days are never good for me. Tuesday night's not good for me. Evening time, I'm on 6 standard time. It's 2:53 now. But better for me.
I can't see what it is from here. He's pounding Jerry in the head. The referee's trying to stop him. The referee has a really tough job here.
Love that line. The referee has a really tough job. The referee's doing nothing but lifting up.
Who has a tough job, especially with a guy like Don Green being in this match.
Cornette in that article was calling him Jerry Hall. Bo was asking why didn't they do this match, and you know, in '71 when I just started watching wrestling, so I can't tell you. I think it was experimented to do it in Memphis or to do it in world. I would guess.
He's up on his knees. He's laying them punches into Don Green. Oh my goodness, he's hit him with a chain again.
That was obviously smart. He's been laying the punches in. Certain things you can pick up on when the announcers say it.
Yeah.
I guess this $5,000 must have gone to his head. He must really want it. It'll take 2 consecutive falls to make a winner in this match. Don Green came off first. Jerry Jarrett came off second. If Jerry Jarrett can get Don Green off the mat, if he can get him off this time, he'll be the winner.
Hey, Reese.
Babyface has the chain.
He's got the man. Jerry Jarrett's got this Don Green by his beard, I believe. It looks like he's got him by his beard. Jerry Jarrett standing up.
Adam just did something saying on January 13th program. It was said that Bob Seymour, who's the president announcing here, was the maximum. Here we go.
He's hit him in the face. The crowd's going wild. The crowd's going. He's down. He's down. Jerry Jarrett's won the match. He's won the match.
Well, Tommy Marlin went up that scaffold like a monkey.
The referee's up there. He's holding Jerry Jarrett's hands up. What a great win for Jerry Jarrett. He must feel a very happy man after this great feud. He's got a $5,000 coming into his pocket.
They left Don Green off for a broken wrist. I don't know if he's swallowing it or if he really broke his wrist, Michael. What would you say?
I think it was a work, although I think they milked it for a while. And it may have been broken during the match. Who knows?
The referee informs me that Don Green's holding his arm and it may possibly be broken. It may possibly be broken.
$5,000 worth $42,000 today.
Man, Don Green is selling it great.
Here's the answer once again, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody's thrown a wreath into the ring with Don Green's name on it. A wreath.
That is
He's
classic.
only writhing in agony. It looks as though his arm might be broken. He won't be able to return. His arm looks like it's broken. Jerry Jarrett is the winner. He wins a $5,000 purse.
Is that Eddie
That's Thomas.
talking?
Yeah. People are going banana, Michael.
That was a hot crowd. But think about all the matches that led up to this. They had built them to this fever pitch, and they are all with this match.
Billy Pierce says the commentary back again was awesome. This is Englishman Bob Seymour. Adam has figured out for us. The people aren't going anywhere, Michael. I think that's neat.
Celebrating with the wrestler, the winner.
$5,000 and a great championship. This match has finally come to a head between Jerry Jarrett and Don Green. And you may have heard the announcement a little while ago that it seems that Don Green may have broken his arm.
Okay, let's go ahead and come out of it, Michael.
I noticed the announce table was up against the ring.
And that was always the case when I was going to the matches. It was, I think Pat brought that up last week or 2 weeks ago when we played the PG-13 rock and roll match. Quick thoughts to sum up The first ever Scaffold match took place August the 15th, 1971 at the Louisville Convention Center. Pat Trammell, quick thoughts on that.
It was a lot better and smoother match than I ever had any reason to believe it was. That was an outstanding match. As Michael said, the crowd was on their feet the whole time. Don Green drops to the third fall. The babies go in the air. Great, 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 great stuff.
Billy Pierce says all those fans without Facebook. I think Facebook
Good point.
did more harm to what we did than anything else in the world. Quick thoughts to sum up, Michael. I think we got the fact that you thought this was great.
I think it's a highlight. Absolutely. Build up with a great card. Then the fans were in a frenzy. They were with the match the whole way. That's the way it's done. And I guarantee you, I don't know what the booking was the next week, but I guarantee you it was equal or better.
No doubt about it. Now we're going to take a little break right now from the Scaffold match. 2 more to come. My favorite, Sweet Brown Sugar and Bill Dundee, come up, and our final Scaffold match, Dundee and Waller against Idle and Rich, and I'll tell the story how I talked everybody into it and whose idea it was. We were down. Jerry Jarrett was off in Florida, and Randy West came to me with the idea, and I said, "Are you going to ask the guys?" He said, "I'm not in the office." I said, "Well, you're quick to suggest the idea." And he did, and we'll talk about that a little later on. Adam, if you could go ahead, and we showed this last week, but the image after the second Talking Memphis Wrestling graphic is image 5461. We talked to Pat about this, and I wanted to give the thoughts from Michael St. John, his quick thoughts. We got Pat's last week, but scheduled for, and I don't know when they'll do this, that weekend of WrestleMania, which is the 18th and 19th of April. And the celebrity member of the Hall of Fame will be basketball player Dennis Rodman. In the Legacy Hall of Fame, a Memphis guy, the legendary great Sid Vicious. Also, AJ Styles, which late last year had his final wrestling match and is now working in a position for the WWE. And one of the things he does is scout talent. Demolition, members of the Hall of Fame. And the main event that night will be Stephanie McMahon. Pat, before we go to Michael with more elaborate thoughts, but some people might not have heard your thoughts last week of these great people that's in the Hall of Fame. Pat?
Well, I think my comment was, yeah, Stephanie's going to get in, and to her credit, I think Vince McMahon has instilled work ethics in his children, and she's hung there longer than others and contributed a good bit. So I don't really have an issue with that. The other three, Demolition, well, long overdue. No question about that. AJ Styles had a great run there. Sid Vicious in multiple territories. I don't really think I've got an issue with Donald Trump and Dennis Rodman and your random celebrity being put in the Hall of Fame. But anyway, other than that, I think it's a good class.
Al Tuttle says, and this is funny, how many kids the next day do you think were on the Jungle Gym acting like Jarrett and Don Green? And I think a lot of people did. We'll get quick comments from Michael St. John on this Hall of Fame class.
Yeah. Honestly, weak. I can't put it any other way. Stephanie is married to the boss. Triple H is the man in charge now. Saw an interview the other day on a sports channel out of New England with Vince McMahon and the guy that owns that sports company that has he's the money behind the guy with the MMA and, of course, now the WWE. And Vince McMahon was doing his best to look like Howard Hughes. And it was an interesting interview. But I don't know. I mean, Demolition was good, but compared to the other tag teams that have gone in before them, and some maybe that will go in after them.
Hey, let me interrupt you. You know who's glaring on that Hall of Fame, even though they didn't work there, but a lot of people didn't work there that's in their Hall of Fame. I would have put the Midnight Express in a hell of a lot before I would have put Demolition in. Even though Demolition, they were over, there's no doubt about it. I think they deserve to be in, but other teams do, including and especially the Midnight Express.
It's not the Midnight Express in. I thought they were in. I was thinking, well,
the Rock and Roll Express
Rock
is.
and Roll
Jim
Express,
Cornette inducted them. The Midnight Express absolutely is not.
Yeah, they should be in, absolutely. I don't know. Sid was good. I don't think Sid was great. He had great size and was a nice guy. I mean, I have no problems with Sid. Rodman, I agree with Pat. I think that's sort of a willy-nilly kind of, I'm surprised that the WWE Hall of Fame does not have, and I'm not politicking, folks. For me, I can assure you, I'm the last one that would be in it. But an announcer wing, just like baseball has an announcer wing and a writer wing. I'm surprised that the WWE Hall of Fame doesn't have a wing for announcers. Because
I know Jim Ross is in, and Jerry Lawler. Not for his wrestling, but for his announcing. Lawler and JR are in, and best of my ability, that's it. Unless Gorilla Monsoon was.
Well, okay, and Gorilla should be. Well, certainly in fact, but, especially going back to the territory days and even to the WWE days prior to Gorilla Monsoon, they had announcers that, that I think could be honored and should be honored. But I think, when you look around the world or the nation, rather, the territories, you've got probably out of 28 territories, you've got probably at least a dozen, maybe more announcers that deserve to be in it and deserve an honor. And, ahead of my list would be Lance Russell and Dave Brown and Bob Caudle and Gordon Soley. And, we can go from there. But I'm surprised. I would think that would have more credibility to the Hall of Fame than some of the people there. I sort of feel like they're running out of people.
Pat, real quick.
Well, I've always been a little bit puzzled as to, is this the WWE, heir to WWF Hall of Fame, or is it a Global Wrestling Hall of Fame? And
I think now it's a Global Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Well, truthfully, I don't know that they know. I mean, there's no
rhyme or reason to who they're putting in.
Well, there's no normal thought process in American wrestling history that doesn't have the Crockett's in there, that doesn't have Lance Russell in there, that doesn't have, Gordon Soley in there, and multiple wrestlers in there. So I think they're scattered as to what they're really about.
No doubt about it. As we switch gears to WrestleMania, next to last row, Adam, last picture, it's labeled WrestleMania 42, 2. Next to last row from the bottom, very last picture on the right. And I won't, because it was just released today, and I want to get into more Scaffold matches sooner than later. Night one on April the 18th released the Usos and LA Knight against the Vision, which is Austin Theory and Logan Paul and Speed. And match number 2 is a non-section match by 2 against Drew McIntyre. The third match, Stephanie McClure against Liv Morgan. AJ Lee against Becky Lynch. A fatal four-way ladies tag. Seth Rollins against Gunther, and Cody Rhodes um, in action against Randy Orton with um, McAfee and Pat in the corner of Cody. Night two is Oba Femi against Brock Lesnar, a six-man ladder match featuring Rey Mysterio, Jade Cargill against Rhea Ripley, Sami Zayn against Trick Williams for the U.S. title, Dominic Mysterio against Finn Balor, and the main event of night number two on April the 19th, CM Punk against Roman Reigns for the WWE World title. The Cody Rhodes match with Randy Orton is for the WWE Undisputed World title. And again, I have a problem with that. There's a world title and a unified undisputed title. It's just a confusing thing. This WrestleMania 2-night cards, what stands out to you, Pat?
There's some kind of redone there. I mean, I obviously want to see the Cody match. I mean, I think it's going to be a really good show, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Michael, quick thoughts.
No, not to be the negative Nelly, but I'll be honest with you. I nothing excites me about this WrestleMania. I don't know what it is, and I think, Randy, you hit the nail on the head. You got a unified world title, then you got the world title. Well, what's the difference between the world title and the unified title? And do they unify the title with the world title, make it a unified world title? I mean, where's it going from here? The thing that strikes me, though, is they seem to really be leaning on the ladies and the women to draw. And there's a lot of women on these cards on both nights. And it just seems that they have a lot of, I think a steel cage match where the loser goes to hell between Rey Mysterio's son and Logan Paul would be great. I think it'd sell out any arena. A loser leaves the world forever. Might really sell out the town, but I don't know. I can't get close to this one, guys. And the sales for tickets, I was just reading. I get a thing on ticket sales from Polestar, which it used to be Polestar. I forget what it's called now, but I had an email on it Sunday night. And the ticket sales supposedly are down like 24% from where they were last year at this time, 2 weeks before WrestleMania. So again, does those ticket prices killing it, bringing it back to Vegas, killing it? But something is this, and it's going to be interesting how they spin it after it's over with. And I'm sure they'll say, "Oh, the greatest WrestleMania ever. We did this, we did that." But the book numbers, the numbers of the people that count the beans, if you would, certainly at this point in time is not showing that.
I agree with Al. I think I'm interested in Orton and Cody, and Roman and Punk, and I think those are my two favorite matches. It's good to see the Blues Doctor in with us tonight, popping in. Glad to see you, Rusty.
Dr. Rusty Robinson is in the house. Very special talking Memphis wrestling. We're going to take about a 10 or 15 second break via video, and we'll be back as we go quickly through the pictures of the week coming up next as we continue with Pat Trammell, Michael St. John, Adam Dunn, and I'm Randy Ells. We'll be back in about 15.
Snowbird's back in the Mid-South again with a word from Snowbird. He's bringing sound advice for school kids, and the Bird and all the gang will be on TV5 throughout the week with safety tips and advice for the whole family. Watch for a word from Snowbird 3 times each Saturday, once early morning, again during championship wrestling, and once more Saturday afternoon. Brought to you in part by Turner Dairies, Maxi and TV5.
Okay, Adam, on the row that is under the the row that's under the pictures with the scaffold matches. It's the far picture to the right. It's 54, 54. Then we'll go in order after that. 54, 54 is those pictures, and this is a classic picture of the fabulous Jackie Fargo, and on the right, Jackie in his later years with his brother Don Fargo. Next picture on Talking Memphis Wrestling, going back from 1975. They viewed at the time in 1975 is Bill Superstar Dundee against George and his tag team partner, George Barnes. The next picture that we'll take a look at is a card before Jarrett Promotions, once they started rocking and rolling. This was in March on a Sunday night, March the 27th at 8 o'clock, before they moved in to the Cook Convention Center. It's kind of hard to see here. I'll read the final two matches. Rocky Johnson against Abdullah the Butcher for the Southern title in a return grudge match, and the main event is Jerry Lawler against Bob Armstrong. The next picture after that, Michael St. John will tell us who this is and where it is.
Famous shot. This is in the interviews that were shot at, this was actually at Channel 2 before they started shooting them at Channel 5. Lynn Rossi, Nick Goulas, and Bearcat Brown. What a phenomenal tag team. Lynn Rossi still looks in good shape there. Bearcat looks like Bearcat all dressed up. And of course, Nick Goulas in the center of the frame. But those wrestling interviews were shot. Those promos were done day after, and that was in the production room or the B studio at Channel 8, which became Channel 2 on Murfreesboro Road in Nashville.
Next picture, and Pat, any idea of who is with Jerry Lawler and what big event took place this particular night?
That is a wedding, and is that oh gosh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Like the white shoes though.
It's Uncle Elmore.
Uncle Elmer, yeah.
With Frazier.
Yeah, probably. Okay.
What's your thoughts on that picture, Michael?
Where'd they get that suit? That fits him great.
I like that, man. He's playing with that.
Is that a 7X? I mean, my gosh, what a big man. And Lawler looks good in that shot, too.
Great pictures here and great comments from our audience. Guys, we appreciate it. We miss some and sometimes calling out to everybody, but we appreciate every single one of you. Next picture is Jerry Lawler, Jim White, and Sam Bass. Great picture. As we watch the next picture, go to the next picture right now. I'm talking Memphis Wrestling. This is Jackie Fargo and Roughhouse Fargo. The next picture is Plowboy Frazier and the great Sam Bass, followed by, hey, how about this one?
There's some handsome guys. Now tell us the story of the chair here.
Jerry Lawler got that from somebody, and it ended up at Jerry Lawler's Hall of Fame. This is in the VIP room of Jerry Lawler's Hall of Fame Bar and Grill at 159 Bill Street in Memphis, Tennessee. And Dundee and I are using that as a prop to take our picture together. So that's a pretty cool picture indeed. Next picture. That is Bar and Grill. My hair's getting a little grayer there. That's Lawler, me, and Double J Jeff Jarrett. The next picture on Talking Memphis Wrestling. Identify this one, Michael.
Boy, who is that fishing? Is that it's either Phil Hickerson or Al Green, right?
It's Phil.
It's Phil. Okay. The profile, they sort of look the same from the profile, but yeah, that's Phil fishing.
Great picture. Next picture is the classic pictures of the fabulous Jackie Fargo.
Love those tights.
Yeah, I mean, he was showbiz before it was showbiz. I like this next picture, and to explain this to you is Michael St. John. This is from Louisville, Kentucky.
That's Jimmy Cornette introducing the mysterious Mama Cornette, and that is his mom. And ma'am, sir,
Thelma Cornette.
yes.
Kenny Bowling is in.
Yeah, I was about to say that's Kenny.
I was going to say the guy on the right looks familiar too. Kenny Bolin. Doggone it! Wow, that's a big. That picture also is inverted. If you notice that Cornette's shirt, you can't read the writing. It's backwards.
Right.
Oh no, I take that back. It says Smoky Mountain Rest. I'm sorry. I'm wrong. That does say Smoky Mountain.
Next pictures, we have about 3 more to go, and any guesses who this is?
Briscoe and Haystacks Calhoun. That's Jerry Briscoe and Haystacks Calhoun.
Very good there, Michael. Next picture from the Power Pro days. Dave Brown and Corey Macklin in the picture today. And the final picture was from a Christmas party, a onesie party. And how about this, Pat? ORH and Jerry Lawler both dressed in
Dressed to the nines.
How about that?
All right.
Michael, any thoughts on those last few pictures we saw?
I think we had unique pictures this week. I like that. They're not your run of the mill pictures. I like that a lot.
We're going to get to the next Scaffold match as we are 8:21 Central Standard Time. And Michael, Adam, if you go ahead and put as I read this card, start putting up, and there's like 1, 2, 3, 5 pictures, I think, of Scaffold matches. As I read this card, it drew 9,000 people. It happened on June the 21st, 1982, and we will read this card and listen to this daggum stat card. The opening match was Steve Kern against the Dream Machine Troy Graham. Second match was Outlaw Ron Bass against the Iron Sheik in a bull rope match. Next match was a handicap match with Jerry Lawler against Beautiful Bobby Eaton and Jimmy Hart in a handicap match. For the Mid-America title, King Cobra against Dirty Dutch Mantell. For the Southern Heavyweight title, Kamala had won the title 3 weeks before from Jerry Lawler. He wrestled Fabulous One member Stan Lane. An added match was Jerry Lawler and his cousin Carl Fergie against the Midnight Express version of Dennis Condrey and Norvell Austin for the Southern Tag Team Championship, and Dundee against Coco Ware in a Scaffold match, June 21st, 1982. Quick thoughts, Pat. Quick thoughts on this card.
Just you got that's right in the heart of some of the best work ever done in the Memphis territory.
Michael?
Totally agree. Now, let me ask you a question. Carl Fergie was Lawler's cousin, right?
Yes, as was Wayne Ferris.
Did they ever tag team them together and call them the Cousins? Because that could have been a hell of a team.
I think, obviously, Fergie and Lawler teamed together in this match, and I think they probably referred to them as cousins to say they bill them as cousins. I'm not sure of that, but it was part of the building process. Are you guys ready to go to Memphis, Tennessee on June 21st, 1982 for a 19-minute, 24-second Scaffold match with Coco Ware as Sweet Brown Sugar against the Superstar? Are you ready, Pat?
I'm ready. I've been waiting to see Coco on that Scaffold.
You ready there, Michael?
Amen. Let's do it.
1924 on Talking Memphis Wrestling.
His first appearance in a scaffold match, representing the First Family Suite, Brown Sugar. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here he comes, rightfully called the king of the scaffold matches. From down in Australia, Bill Superstar Dundee. Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen, for the rules governing this unusual, spectacular bout. In this match, both wrestlers will ascend the platform to the ladders to the platform, and that is where the bout will take place. If a wrestler is knocked off, he will have a 20 count to get back to the ladder to start back up to the platform. In the event that he is knocked off of the platform twice, he is the loser of the bout. So a wrestler must be dislodged twice in order to have lost the match. Introducing now from the First Family, Union City, Tennessee, his hometown, weighing in at 220 pounds, Sweet Brown Sugar. Coming in at 214, out of
Randy West on the hard camera shot here. I think the production is better, Michael.
They improved it a ton. Also, I think the apple is taller. Again, it's from the perspective. Is the scaffold actually higher?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It got bigger and better. I love Lance's ring announcing, guys.
Lance could do it all. What a great commentator.
He may get knocked right off backwards and fall right down on top of Eddie Myers. Well, here's what we've been waiting for. And you see who's up there first. The little Australian. Thank you. Dundee is already up there, and here comes Brown Sugar, who is not sure he is going up. Referee Jerry Calhoun says, let's get it back up or end it. And Dundee, yeah. Billy comes over and says, let me give you a hand. Oh, yeah? Brown Sugar.
Dundee's walking backwards, Pat, without looking.
Thrilled about the whole idea of this match. He graciously gave Dundee a chance to back out, but Billy thought he just might go ahead and see if he couldn't make out okay. Dundee, who did high steel work as a young man in Australia and worked in a circus, has absolutely no fear of heights. He is a master at the scaffold match.
You know, whoever
Nobody
rigged
has
this,
been able to beat
I'm wondering
him
if they had it
because he feels
inspected,
so at home.
or if it's
And
just
Brown
how we
Sugar
rigged
is
it back in
ready
the
to
day.
say,
I
Yeah,
think you
how
know
we
the
rigged
answer
it
to
back in the
that.
day.
Yeah.
the rules governing it.
I'm looking at it
If a
and I'm
wrestler
saying,
is knocked
I
off
don't
the
know about this
platform
rigging.
twice,
And how
he
high is
loses the
this one,
match.
Randy?
When
You
he
know
is
what?
knocked
What
off,
would you say, Michael? 'Cause I don't
I think
remember.
it's 20
has
feet.
a
I think it's 20 feet in the
count to
air.
get back to the ladder, starting up again.
Yeah, I think it's
Randy
20
West
feet
is
in the
still
air.
watching. Randy, do you remember
Let me tell you, that
this scaffold match in
platform
1982?
is
Knowing
way
Jerry
up
Jarrett,
in the
Randy
air.
probably had to build it.
Well, I'll tell you this.
climbed up
I've
one
I've
time to
worked
see
on
what it looked
scaffolds
like,
before.
and that ring
The
looks like a
the
postage stamp
sections
from up there.
are generally about 8 feet. So from the floor, it's probably 24
Look
feet.
like there's room to even
So it's
fall down in the
probably
ring on
20 from the ring.
It's a peculiar perspective.
You said the span is normally 8 foot.
if
That
you've
looks
ever been
longer
at-
than
yeah,
8
Jimmy
foot,
Hart's
Pat.
down here.
No, the
Go get
height
him,
of
Sugar.
the
Go get him.
sections. You
Gotcha.
stack them on
Hart's
top
down
of
here
each
where
other.
we are.
Gotcha.
And Sugar is up there with Dundee.
Dr. Robinson said maybe
This is
15
one
feet.
Billy wanted.
It's impressive for sure. And I certainly like this video better.
Yeah,
As-
Randy's says 14 feet over the mat. That's probably
using
right.
a headbutt. Knocks Dundee down.
Randy West. Stay with us, Randy Dandy, because our next Scaffold match,
Sugar rights himself.
you pitched the idea to me.
Big
You remember
right hand
that?
from Sugar.
Pitched the idea
Ooh,
for me, and
Dundee
Sherry
caught
Joe
him
was on
with that
vacation to go with Dundee and Lawler against Otto and Rich, and then I said,
Sugar.
"Do you want to be the ones to ask the guys?" And Randy said, "You're in the office, not me." But it was a Randy West idea, and it was a great one, and it drew money.
But Bill, not really in a position to wrap him up. Now he's going to work on him. Brown Sugar takes a shot from Dundee. Bill on an outside toe hold. Ooh, and Sugar kicked him right in the face.
First Scaffold match in Louisville, around 7,000 people. This card drew around 9,000 people, and the Scaffold match in leaner time did almost 7,000 people on June the 21st, 1987, and we'll be taking a look at that a little later.
Brown Sugar bounced his head off of it. Now he's hot dogging it. Bill. He has to hit the mat. He did not, and so the count did not start. That is not one.
You know, that's interesting. That's a little different, or something added on from the first Scaffold match we saw, that if you don't hit the mat, you can climb back up the Scaffold. Now look at him.
He's trying to swing
I like
his
this
way
better.
back up,
I
but
like this
Sugar
a lot
going
better.
after him.
Yes. And with the participants,
Sugar kicking
Coco
Dundee in the head.
and Dundee,
Bill hanging
look at
on,
this spot
trying to
as
get to the other side.
I love the
He lost it
stomping,
except
and
for one
Dundee
hand. He's
grabs the
hanging
thing,
there.
and now that takes strength there, Pat. What you're
Yeah.
seeing right now on the screen takes
Oh, my
strength.
goodness.
Dundee swings a leg up. Ooh, and Sugar bangs him again.
Coco doing a
He's
good
got
job
him
here,
like a
too.
pendulum now, and
Coco
Dundee
was
hits the
so
mat.
good. The first bump and the
down.
first ball
That's
goes,
one more, and Bill's
Coco
through.
wears. So not a lot of
He's got a
time
20 count
there,
to
not as
start
long
back up
as
the
the
ladder.
Don Green, Jerry Jarrett
Referee
first
Jerry
match.
Calhoun.
But Pat, do you agree with
And
this
7.
statement? First of all,
And Dundee
what we saw
kicking his hand
action-wise
where
was
Sugar
more
stomped on it on those
impressive,
rungs up there.
and the Scaffold in itself was more impressive.
He started
Oh,
up, so he
absolutely.
breaks the count.
Michael?
The first thing I noticed, Randy, and
Bill trying to get his
correct
second
me if
win.
I'm wrong,
Pumping
but
his way
the
back
fans
up.
in Louisville were at a
Sugar
frenzy. These
grabs
folks
him,
are sitting on their
slams his
hands.
head into that post. And
I don't
Dundee
get
may
that
be in
frenzy.
danger
I
of
don't get that
losing
frenzy that I got out of that
Scaffold
first one.
match, which would really be a first.
And it was a bigger crowd.
Hart cheering Brown Sugar on. And Bill Dundee hanging in there.
The crowd seems loud to me.
I like that Louisville crowd.
He
That
is
Louisville
really
crowd was
belting him.
crazy.
Bill back up on top of the platform. Sugar just barely gets up. Oh, if you could appreciate how high, and Sugar trips him face first right down on that metal platform.
People will think I'm crazy, Michael, but as over as Bill Dundee was in '82, he wasn't as over as Jerry Jarrett was in Louisville in 1971. And
I would agree with that.
do what?
I would agree with that. I'm having microphone problems. Stand by.
And Coco Ware, Pat, as much heat as he had in '82, he didn't have the heat Don Green had.
No.
Hooks the head, and he and Sugar battling at it.
James, they had a 20 count to get back, or if they're knocked off twice, they lose. That was the rule in this particular case. Dr. Robertson says,
Kicks him in the side. Sugar.
All
he
right.
thought the crowd was about normal for Memphis.
Okay, and it could be the way that the audio too from the microphones and what it picked up, but this guy's what Lance's microphone's picking up, which is what you're using, versus what the Louisville microphone was. But just looking physically at the crowd, the Louisville crowd were on their feet. These people are sitting down.
But not on the floor, and now he invites him up. Just imagine the physical exertion of climbing around trying to hold on.
Well, one big difference at this time in '82, you couldn't buy beer in Memphis at the Coliseum, and you could in Louisville.
Oh, really?
Crowd murmuring.
There's your answer.
Sugar may have been going to his kites. We couldn't see it. Dundee has been off once. And Bill pulls off a boot.
There's no doubt of the two wrestlers, the most comfortable person we've seen so far tonight in the Scaffold match is Bill Dundee.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Randy, did he do performing in the circus?
No, he was like an animal trainer.
Okay.
Dundee has the boot.
He did a lot of. When I talked to Bill, was telling me some stuff about that one time. Did he also do a lot of rigging? What did they call the circus guy? The round.
He was a rigger.
He did a lot of rigging.
And Brown Sugar runs back, sits down.
Coco was so good, man. People remember him in his WWE run as the Birdman. He was older. But Coco and Bobby Eaton were my favorite heel tag teams of all time. Coco is just a nice guy, a tough athlete. Hell, he whooped Steve Kearns in a dressing room fight in Nashville. Beat the shit out of him.
Great running back. High school.
Union City, Tennessee.
Randy, I'm going to be in Louisville next Monday and Tuesday. I would love to see Cornette. I reached out to him, but you might have a better chance of him calling you back than him calling me back. But I'd love to say hi to him while I'm up there.
Right now, he's about 5 months behind on returning my last call. He just hates the world now. He talks to Brian West and does his podcast, and that's basically it. And Coco took him on.
I think he talks to Tom Pritchard, too, quite a bit. I have not heard anything further on a service or a memorial for Dennis Condrey here in Huntsville. I've been checking over at Berry Hill, the funeral home that handled the arrangement originally, and they've been mum on any information.
Well, originally it was said that there would not be a service.
Harville Hunter had mentioned that there would be a memorial. That's why I was mentioning that.
They've both been off once. The next one to go is the loser. Sugar now getting up his nerve, standing up. He's ready to do battle. Dundee twisting that arm. Oh, Sugar stuns Billy, and Billy almost ready to go. He's staggered.
This is good.
Yeah, physically, this is much better. The drama, I agree, is not as high.
Reverse face lock. All of this 15 feet above the ground. Looks like he may have a chokehold on him from here. Bill has his hands hooked
About
under
4
the
minutes
side
left in
rails.
the match.
Nails Sugar with a knee, foot. And he bounces Dundee's head off that platform. And Dundee, a leg is off. He's holding on, but both legs are off.
How about a false finish? That high in the air,
Very
Michael.
close to winning it.
Love it.
Billy comes back up.
Reese is asking what brings you to Louisville, Michael.
20th year in a row, broadcasting live from Churchill Downs for the AT&T Morning Line. It's a limb for the Kentucky Derby and part of the Kentucky Derby Festival. We are the only station in Alabama that has ever been invited, and they invite us back every year.
Bo James says, Michael, I'll be in Huntsville Monday until late Thursday. You will be home, right?
I will be here all day Thursday, Bo, so grab me Thursday. I'll be out of town Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
He clubbed Sugar in the back with his leg. Sugar retaliates.
If I might, after this match is over, I'd like to mention something about Bo, if you would, Randy.
Okay.
Sugar down. They're both off the platform, but neither one of them have hit the floor.
Great finish here.
Dundee pounds on him. He got him loose. And Sugar hits it.
There's the pop.
There you go.
Dundee. 15 minutes, 17 seconds. Dundee the winner. Brown Sugar wreathing in pain.
Can I give that a 5-star?
As he
5-star?
barely hit his wrist down on
A
a
5-star
mat.
match. A 5-star
And
match.
he has either
That's
hurt
a
his
5-star
wrist
match.
or his elbow or something.
I really enjoyed it for sure. And let's come out of the video right now.
Dundee the winner.
Adam,
15.
as Pat Trammell is with us, and we'll get comments from everybody about final thoughts on that particular match before we get into the later one. But Michael had requested words.
Well, let's go ahead and wrap this up first, because if Dave Meltzer ever watches this show, he could understand, I think, the difference between a 5-star and a minus 5-star match. And this is a 5-star match, hands down, hands down.
He don't understand.
No, he doesn't. And Dave, I've always respected his writing, and I think he's done some good stuff for professional wrestling. But I think he's lost his compass, and he's maybe it's a Bo romance with the
Tony Khan.
With Tony Khan at AEW. I don't know.
Well, my contention on that is Khan was paying him before he ever opened the doors to put him over. I don't. There's no question in my mind about that.
He's on the payroll. Yeah.
But to tell you, and the other issue with Meltzer is, they never should have put a camera in his face. He was a halfway decent journalist, but now he wants to spread rumor and innuendo. I agree with Rusty and agree with y'all. That was a great match, but those two are going to have a great match in the air, on the ground, anywhere. They're just made to be in the wrestling ring together.
You can put them in a jumping gym and a jungle gym, or not a jungle gym, but one of those bouncy houses, and they're going to have a great match. Amen.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. I agree with you, Dr. Robinson.
See, I think the opposite. I think Tony Khan. I don't really. here's what I think. I think Dave Meltzer pays Tony Khan because Meltzer always thinks that Dave Meltzer, is the most brilliant guy in wrestling. I think he pays Tony Khan so he can. I think he half-assed books the thing. I really do. I think Dave Meltzer half-assed books the thing because it's not a wrestler or a wrestling business person booking that company. There's no way you can tell me that.
That's an interesting take, Randy, and I might agree with you to the point of I think he's got Tony's ear. But then again, I've heard a lot of stories from boys that have been in and out of that company, and I think Tony's ear is whoever he's talking to. Whoever is talking to Tony has got Tony's ear, and I think that I have the perfect word came. I saw a little of the show, of their show last Wednesday, and the perfect word came to my mind as to what I was watching in a wrestling show from AEW that night. Schizophrenia.
Right.
It was
I agree.
Total schizophrenia.
And I like it better than y'all do, but at the same time, I quit watching it. Quit watching.
I agree with James Davis, by the way. Conrad is 100% better than Meltzer. I want to say something. Pat, you're an English guy, and I'm an English major, and you study literature, and I had I had to read a lot to get a degree from the college I got in English. I had to read a lot of literature, and I've continued to be an avid reader. But have you ever seen a writer that was a great writer that was good looking? I mean, you look at history, Faulkner. I mean, you look at anybody. You pick a great writer in Shakespeare. You pick a great writer. They're ugly, but they can write like crazy. They can write beautiful. They don't look beautiful.
Michael, go ahead and talk about Bo James real quick. I want to try to get out of here on time.
Well, real quickly here, I want to congratulate Bo. He has pulled off a feat here in Huntsville that in this day and time just doesn't get done. And he has gotten a wrestling program, a local wrestling program, put on Channel 19's CW channel, Channel 15. Must carry on all the cable systems. You can get it on your satellites. In fact, I was watching it earlier today. He's got a good coverage area from really the Shoals all the way almost to Chattanooga, certainly to South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, north of the Tennessee River. My Italian hands just got into my microphone, but north up the Tennessee River and from the ridge up around Lewisburg, Tennessee, south. So he's got a great territory to work from, and he's got a wrestling program. And having seen a couple of Bo shows and knowing the knowledge that Bo has, I think it's wrestling the way it ought to be, or the way that it should be. And I think he's got the strongest chance for success at a local wrestling show right now in market number 82 of anybody in the country. And I'm saying that, and I have a lot of high hopes for him, but I really think he's doing the right thing, and I'm thrilled to death for him. And secondly, I want to say to our friend Tony Richards, Tony Richards did an interview. He called me today. Well, actually texted me today. And I was helpful in getting him together with George Goulas. And they did a show today, which is sort of the culmination of the Goulas Welch legacy series he's done. And I got a feeling it's going to be, I think it's going to open a lot of eyes. But I want to congratulate him on pulling that off.
Back to Bo James, and I'm proud of Bo as well. I think it will be great. Wish him a lot of success. And Adam found the promo that they've made for that. There might be an initial promo they did. They did several versions, and I don't know if this is the one he's going with at all, but Adam found it, and we're going to show it right now, talking Memphis Wrestling.
Get ready, Huntsville. The fight's about to begin. Southern States Wrestling. The heart-pounding action, the fierce rivalries, the champions you've got to see. Where legends are made, and every Saturday night is a showdown. Southern States Wrestling. Every Saturday at 9:30 on WHDF. Southern States Wrestling.
Michael, is this a network channel or is it an independent?
They're a part of the CW network. So it is technically it's a network, but it's owned by Channel 19, which is one of their two companies that own television stations. Channel 19 used to be owned by the New York Times. They have a very strong signal, a very strong presence in the market. They promote well. They cross promote with 15, and they do a really good job. And like I said, they're going to promote it. And knowing the kind of show that Bo puts on, I think he has the best opportunity, really, probably thus far in the 20th century, outside of a Tony Khan that has a jillion billions of dollars. I think Bo has the best opportunity to make a local wrestling show work and work the way the old territories worked.
All right. Any comments, Pat, on any of this before we move on?
Well, Michael, it's the 21st century, incidentally. And Bo says we debut Saturday at 9:30 on CW, stations behind us 100%. And Bo and I have had some conversations, and I got on the road, but look forward to seeing where this goes on TV and on shows around North Alabama and Southern Tennessee. I think it's going to be great.
He's going to shoot initially from out at Hazel Green High School, which is almost on the Tennessee border in a very great area of Huntsville that doesn't get a lot of entertainment. And so I got a feeling he's going to draw for his house show as well. And I'm like you, Pat. I think Bo's got the drive and the desire to make a point here and to make some money. And I hope the fans will back him. I had the opportunity. Saw one of his shows. I went up to Manchester, Tennessee for the Coffee County Fair last summer and watched the show and got the chance to meet his talent. And I know he's got some talent that he's trained. He's got some talent Tom Pritchard trained. He's got some boys and girls that really look pretty daggum good for youngsters, if you would. So I think this could be a good thing.
And Bo has a lot of connections as well, and we will get Bo on soon, and especially once it debuts, and we will do the last segment. No, the next to last segment. The last segment is the final take. Adam, if you would go back to the Scaffold match pictures, as I will read the card from June 15th, 1987. Remember, I read 71 and 82. By 87, the wrestling business has changed. Territories were going away. Memphis was one of the last of the old territories. This card took place on June 15th, 1987. Jim Crockett Promotion was hot in 87 on national TV on TBS. Vince McMahon had already started WrestleMania. Wrestling has changed. The Memphis card that drew about 7,000 people. As I said earlier, Jerry Jarrett out of town in Florida, and Randy West came up to me at the office and said, "Hey, why don't we do this?" And had the idea of a scaffold match. And I said, "Who's going to ask this guys? You going to do it?" And he said, "Well, no, I'm not in the office." So I said, "Well, Jerry's gone and Lawler's in the match that you booked." I said, "The first thing we need to do is ask him." And I said, "It will be a hard talking Tommy Rich to say yes if the money's right. Everybody else would be a debate." But I was the one that about a week out had to go and ask. And we had a scaffold company come in to put it together. But I'll read this card real quick. Don Bass against Bucky Siegler. Alan West against Jack Hart, who ended up as Barry Horowitz, or who was Barry Horowitz, real name, and ended up wrestling in Memphis as Jack Hart, Stretcher Jack Hart. John Paul against Brickhouse Brown. Jeff Jarrett against Moondog Spot, and a scaffold match main event, Lawler and Dundee against Rich and Idol. That's the card. And Michael, do you agree with me as we read several cards. Now, as we get after national expansion, you didn't know as many names. And this card, great main event, great semifinal match, but this is certainly not the type of card. And it's why it drew 7,000 people, which is great, instead of allowed 11,000 people. The wrestling business was changing big time from 1983 on. Michael?
I agree with that. And when you read those names, there's some names on there that became big names, if you would, after the fact, after this was all over with, that were just, bubbling under right at this point. But the lead up card was not as strong as the previous two cards that we read prior to Scaffold matches being booked on the card.
Pat?
I agree with Michael, and that's one of those things that you throw it to get a pop, and I'm looking forward
to get a crowd. Get a crowd.
Yeah, get a pop, get a crowd, and something different.
Bo James, very happy with the words that we said, and I'm glad Michael brought it up, and Adam found the video, and so that is great, and I appreciate Adam doing that. As we go to our last video of the day from June the 21st, 1987. That's been a long time ago. I got out of college in 84. That's just 3 years after that. I was laying, because Jarrett was gone, booking the card, laying out the television, running the TV, and most importantly, being able, this is my first conning job. I con all four people in to doing the match. So I get a little, Randy West, of course, with the idea, but I get a little credit in there if we're talking into it. So that's my first job as a con promoter. As we watch this video, that's 9 minutes, 27 seconds. As far as I know, the last Scaffold match ever in Memphis, as we watch now on Talking Memphis Wrestling.
At the scene of where we have a test scaffolding up here for the big Scaffold match coming up. Boy, this Skywalker match is going to be something. The King and the Superstar. Billy, that is a long way up.
You got that, and it's a long way down, Lance. Now, Austin Idol really thought he pulled something when he had Tommy Rich hiding under the ring or what he done in Memphis, Tennessee, and cut the Kings here. Well, Idol, you can't hide nobody nowhere, brother, because you can see this thing's 25 feet up in the air, and you can't hide nowhere. You got to start on the ground, and you can see who climbs up, and you can see who falls off. And the Superstars had a Scaffold match before, so I'm going to tell you all up front, I'm not scared of heights. I hope you two punks are, but I ain't. And Jerry and the King Lawler and the Superstar is going to climb up here, and Mr. Russell's coming with us.
No, wrong.
Come on up here,
Lance. I got business down here on the floor.
You said one thing right. It is a bad day for us here today, but I can assure you Monday is going to be the bad day for Austin Idol and Tommy Rich. Now, Bill says he's not afraid of heights, and I'm going to be perfectly honest with you and everybody out there. I'm not really crazy about going up on this thing, but if it's a chance to get rid of Austin Idol and Tommy Rich once and for all, then it's a chance worth taking. Now, we've had all sorts of matches with these two jerks. We've had chain matches, Texas death matches, every kind of match you can think of. But this, Lance, is the ultimate. When you go up over 20 feet in the air on one of these scaffolds and have a chance on knocking somebody off down onto the floor, well, you know what can happen. And as a matter of fact, we're going to show everybody what can happen here in just a few minutes, okay?
Oh, boy.
We're going up. You're coming, come on, King.
You going to come with us, Lance?
I think I'll stand down here and help Ken hold the camera and all. I'm going to bring
talk to our good friend Steve for a minute?
Harrison in here. Steve owns the Tennessee Scaffolding Company, and by golly, you have erected quite a structure. I know this isn't the highest one that you ever built, Steve.
No, this is not the highest, but I can guarantee you 2 floors up and looking down, it's impressive.
You told me that it was 2 stories up in the air. When you stand here and look up, it doesn't give you, it looks high enough. It looks plenty high, but I can imagine up there on the top of that thing.
Yeah, we like to say 2 floors, that's only 20 feet, but people have to understand when you get up on top of 2 floors, you can get killed easily.
And with the double runners that are going to be on this thing, it's not going to.
Dundee got up there quicker than Lawler did, Michael.
We're here, and they're the ones. There they are. They've gotten to the top now. The Superstar and the King standing up here serving all that's around.
and looking forward to getting Austin Idol and Tommy Rich up on top of that scaffolding along with them. And then comes the job, who is going to be able to throw whom off the top of it. That's exactly what the Skywalker is going to be like. Right out in the middle.
We're going to be out in the middle. We're going to give Austin Idol and Tommy Rich a little sample of what it's going to be like if you fall off of it.
The King is saying that we're going to give Austin Idol and Tommy Rich what it's like if you fall off of this thing. And the King has got himself a watermelon there. The superstar heading out toward the middle. Yeah, easy for you to say up there. I don't believe this. Steve, I cannot imagine anything that could be more dangerous, and I have seen a lot of here it comes. All right, ready? Here we go. Dundee with the watermelon. It hits. Oh, good night. The heartthrob going to the inside to make his ascent. And Wildfire Tommy Rich goes to the outside.
That setup interview was good, guys.
It was, and the crowd is, this crowd seems to be more into this than the last show.
Takes a peek over the edge. Lawler on the platform. Idol on the platform. It's a little late. Paul Dangerly.
I was saying Idol had a reputation of being difficult to deal with. If you were a promoter or booker, did you find Austin Idol difficult to deal with, or was it her reputation? I mean, sometimes he would speak up on his money. And he had a lot of ideas. But to say that he was difficult, except when he would no-show, if he was unhappy, he would just not come and not tell you he wasn't coming. But more often than not, if you knew he would draw, you would take that risk knowing that eventually he would get tired and leave, get mad and leave. PJ says, scared of heights from this thing. And I'd be scared too, Pat.
PJ's right.
So where they'll have a chance to pitch him off, that is the only way it can end when one member, and Lawler nailed Tommy Rich.
This is also a two-camera shot, which makes a difference of perspective.
Randy West on the hard camera, Ken Parnell from TV5 at the time on the floor camera.
Look at Lawler backing Rich up. This is one time where the best seat in the house is not the ringside seat.
Tommy was kind of a chicken shit heel, wasn't he?
Yes, absolutely. Bo says the scaffolding is the highest one he ever remembers, and I 100% agree with that.
We had a conversation as to how high it was.
Yeah, the guy on the pre-introduction said it was 2 stories up, which was 20 feet. So that's, I don't know. Again, it's the perspective of 2 cameras gives it a different perspective.
What would you say, Michael?
I think it, personally, I just think it's about as tall as the one that Coco and Dundee were on.
Oh, no, man. That looks taller than me.
I think it may be the position of the camera, though, Pat.
Okay.
Just watch when they pan out. Well, maybe you're right. There seems to be more sections of pillars that are holding it. You're probably right, Pat.
Look how fast that dang Dundee ran across that scaffolding. He didn't give a crap. This is just highlights, not the entire match.
Randy, just for my edification, and I don't know the answer for this. Was the ring refortified in any way during these matches for when the boys came down? Was there extra padding? Was there a difference in the ring structure itself?
Say that again.
Was there like a landing pad type thing put under the mat, or
No.
was the ring refortified in any way?
Not that I remember.
Gotcha.
I think that's the bell. That's it. The winner is
Paulie dangerously at ringside for that, and this was just highlights, not the whole match, and then we're going with heat afterwards.
It's all over officially. It was at 11:15 when Tommy Rich was disposed of down to the ring. Here comes Lawler.
The afterbirth here is better than the other two.
Yes.
Lawler slams the injured wrist of Rich onto the turnbuckle and now tags idle. Dangerously rolling and agonizing on the floor. Dundee with no sympathy. They're getting ready to post Dangerously.
Hell, if they posted him today, he'd bring the ring down.
How can you do that and that not? I guess he had a cup on.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Refortified the structure.
Okay.
Hey, let's go with last something. We've been going too long afterwards. We've gone 5 minutes over today, but I wouldn't take this show for nothing. I mean, this has been a fantastic show. Sum the show up and give your final thoughts and last takes, Pat Trammell.
Well, I tell you, it's been good to see everybody. I've seen a lot of people I hadn't seen in a while. You know, it's interesting. I mean, I did not know until we started doing this show that the first Scaffold match was in fact in Memphis, and it's it's interesting to see the evolution in Memphis of the thing get higher and get broader and all that. But I'll tell you what, the thing that impresses me tonight is just what a fantastic job that Jarrett and did on that scaffold with Don Green and what Don Green did. I mean, that had to be one of those things I really wish I was around to see.
Absolutely said. Very good. As Reese and a lot of the audience really love the show tonight. Reese saying this show has been one of my favorites. As for his last takes and to sum up the show today, here's Michael St. John. Then we'll all be on screen, and I'll close this out and tell you about next week. And I'll tell you right now, I don't know what we'll do next week, but we'll keep you posted on my social media. Here's Michael St. John for his final take.
Well, first of all, when I got the notes about this and the scaffold match, and I said, how are we going to do 2 hours on scaffold matches? And my gosh, we could probably go another hour. I mean, this was a really good show. It was well conceived, and I thought it was just very, very well put together for yourself, and of course Adam and Pat gives a great perspective from his perspective on this. So I really appreciate the opportunity, and I agree. This was an interesting idea, and I think it worked. And the scaffold matches obviously worked and started a whole new trend.
Absolutely. What are your plans for next week, Michael?
I'm in Louisville. We're broadcasting Monday morning, Tuesday morning at the AT&T Morning Line at Churchill Downs, and it can be heard if you want to watch it or listen to it on stream. It can be heard on the funmediagroup.com website, and the other websites are up there as well. So we'll be doing that. It's a unique show because in the past 3 years, my football commentator, color commentator, Ronnie Shoemate, who we lost back in December, was along, and this is going to be the first opportunity that I've had to do a show of this nature without Ronnie. And we have named a new team for our Arabian Night football team broadcast here as we enter our 28th year. And Chuck Ellis will be going with me. Chuck is a retired lieutenant from the 101st Airborne and a state trooper for 22 years in Alabama. He's been my running buddy for football for the past 3 or 4 years, and we've worked together on some games before. So Chuck will be taking, will be in Ronnie's seat, and then we've hired a new sideline reporter who was our play-by-play person for Fairview football last year, whose son plays beginning this year at Arab High School. So that is coming out in the papers, and we had the press release released yesterday. So it's been a lot of activities going on, but it's going to be a busy week. And then Wednesday, the three of us are going to take a deep breath and travel over to Keeneland and maybe put $1 or $2 on a couple of ponies while we're up in the bluegrass.
That sounds a lot of fun. Bo James says he might be able to come on next week, so I know Michael will not be able to, but Pat, maybe you can join Bo and myself, and hopefully Bo can send me more video or send it to Adam, and we can do more of a preview. I don't know what the rules are about showing that sort of stuff. Adam stole that promo, but that's certainly, we're selling wrestling, we're selling Bo, and we're selling Alabama, and I'm excited about that. For Pat Trammell, Pat, say good night.
Good night, everybody. Good to see you all.
Michael, say good night.
So long, everybody.
And Al Tuttle says, have we ever done Memphis bloodiest matches? I'm sure we've done bloody matches. I don't know if entire show, and for down the road, that might be a good idea to do if we can find a bunch of blood and gore, blood and gut. Thank you, audience. Thank you, Team Hales, PJ and Reese and Al and Thomas and everybody that watches this show. We appreciate it. Without you guys, there's no us, and we all three realize this. Chris and Dr. Robinson not with us today, but we'll see them down the road, and we'll see you down the road. And for Pat, for Michael, for Adam, I'm Randy Hales saying bye-bye, everybody, for Talking Memphis Wrestling.
You'll see America's favorite sport on WHBQ television.
Get ready, Huntsville. The fight's about to begin. Southern States Wrestling. The heart-pounding action, the fierce rivalries, the champions you've got to see. Where legends are made, and every Saturday night is a showdown. Southern States Wrestling. Every Saturday at 9:30 on WHDF. Southern States Wrestling.